Okay, so
she's looking to like her producers, like, is he right? Is that the standard of care? Wait, what does standard of care mean? What?
what's the issue?
then what's the problem?
And he's trying to railroad. It's this whole thing is like a railroad and not letting him ever respond to anything, I guess.
Let me finish my point.
Okay, wait.
Okay, let me finish.
You just said something. I just want to. I was talking over you. I just want to make sure you said it.
I think I've lost. Like, I think most of my respect for Seder and a lot of these things is kind of gone at this point. This is like so unhinged. Like, it's already 2v1. It's already your show. You're very clearly, you're not even familiar with his article, what we were originally even talking about. Like, why not just let the guy finish a sentence or two? And now they're going to hang up. That's it. This is the end. My guess is going to be this is the end of the conversation. Let's see.
When you come on the show, can we just get a little bit more specific about the SOC stuff?
Honestly, dude, I mean,
I'm not going on your show, bro.
and to be honest with you, like, I don't back down from anybody, but I really think you should just have a trans person on or an activist or someone that.
Oh, it's Jesse Singal. Hello, Jesse.
How's it going, man?
Good. We can't hear you very well. Can you speak into your phone?
Yeah. Are you on the headphones?
Hold on one sec.
All right, Jesse. So you wanted to call him for a while. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, thanks to Emma. She's going to come on my podcast, Blocked and Reported. I appreciate that. It takes some guts to do that, given our disagreements, but I'm basically just like calling in because, I committed to doing so. I'm a little bit.
You don't feel. You should not feel obligated whatsoever. I'm perfectly willing to. I didn't consider it a commitment. I wasn't anticipating it. So don't feel in any way obligated whatsoever.
I think it's okay. I do feel obligated. I said I would do it. I want to honor that. But I feel like Twitter causes a lot of division and drama, and I've contributed to it. I just think there's probably
I would agree with that.
I think there's probably a fair amount we agree on some of the stuff you guys discuss, including just how bad it is to try to ban youth gender medicine. That was something I wrote about in May of 2020, before it was a national story. I also think there's like probably some areas where there's like a little bit of disagreement, but they tend to be edge cases. Just stuff where there's probably going to have to be some, debate and compromise. But I think at the end of the day, I don't know. I've been like writing about science for a decade, and
what do you mean by youth gender medicine?
But here's the thing.
Clarify that, please,
Jesse. I just want to make something clear. I don't care where we agree on. That is, I can't tell you how irrelevant it is to me what we agree on, whether it's in the context of trans stuff, whether it's in the context of any other politics. Wholly irrelevant. I don't care what kind of person you are. I don't care what your belief system is. None of that is relevant. The reason why I think you are toxic and at best extremely unhelpful in this area is that you distort the importance of this issue, and are so fervent at pointing out this minutia that I consider minutia in the face of what is actually happening on the ground. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. That's not you, but it's an analogy, and it's an extreme one. But that's
just because we have limited time. Could we just keep this to stuff I've written that you have?
No,
that you
because I don't. Because no, it's not even there. There's a specific no. Because it's not even that there's a specific thing that I take issue with, because that in some ways is exactly what the like indicative of the same problem. And I will do this. It's like, I know that you feel that you are just writing stuff that you think is accurate, very technically accurate, that your issue was in insisting and in highlighting this clip that no one had seen really until you promoted it. That in the words saying that when Matt said your lies were cited by Republican attorney generals, for whatever reason, when we did this email exchange and you put out a little clip of it, you said conservatives. I was confused by that because maybe I thought you were talking about something different. But My issue with what you do, okay, is best summed up in this analogy. And again, this is an analogy that's extreme.
Oh my God.
But it makes the case, is that back in 2004, there was a writer who wanted to argue, and you remember what was happening in 2004, 2005 in Iraq. Maybe it was before your time, I'm not sure. Who wanted to argue that there is nuance in the context of the torture debate. And by, sort of showing that within the context of the torture debate, there were nuanced instances where the idea of saying that torture is bad is inaccurate because there were nuanced instances where that was okay. And I think the headline was in defense of torture. And it was published on the Huffington Post at a time where
that's completely grotesque.
Yes, I'm sure. I use this example because I knew you would think it was grotesque.
I'm so curious if it's actually grotesque, because I could see there being totally nuanced takes relating to torture, especially of non-country, not non-enemy combatants. What do you call them? I believe the Geneva Convention stuff, I think, only applies to uniformed soldiers. I'm curious what this article said, though. Oh, was it by Sam Harris? Or was it this HuffPo one? By Sam Harris. Okay, it was by Sam Harris. Okay, not too long. Let's just read it, okay? Imagine that a known terrorist has planted a bomb in the heart of a nearby city. He now sits in your custody. Rather than conceal his guilt, he gloats about the forthcoming explosion and the magnitude of human suffering it will cause. Given this state of affairs, in particular, given that there is still time to prevent an imminent atrocity, it seems that subjecting this unpleasant fellow to torture may be justifiable. For those who make it their business to debate the ethics of torture, this is known as the ticking bomb case. While the most realistic version of the ticking bomb case may not persuade everyone that torture is ethically acceptable, adding further embellishment seems to awaken the grand inquisitor in most of us. If a conventional explosion doesn't move you, consider a nuclear bomb hidden in Midtown Manhattan. If bombs seem too impersonal and evil, picture your 7-year-old daughter being slowly asphyxiated in a warehouse just 5 minutes away, while the man in your custody holds the keys to her release. If your daughter won't tip the scales, then add the daughters of every couple, but I don't know how he does it. Clearly, the consequence of one person's uncooperativeness can be made so grave, and his malevolence and culpability so transparent as to stir even a self-hating moral relativist from his dogmatic slumbers. I am one of the few people I know of who has argued in print that torture may be an ethical necessity in our war on terror. The aftermath of Abu Ghraib, this is not a comfortable position to have adopted publicly. There is no question that Abu Ghraib was a travesty. There is no question that it has done our country lasting harm. Indeed, the Abu Ghraib scandal, Abu Ghraib, I think actually, Abu Ghraib? Scandal may be one of the costliest foreign policy blunders to occur in the last century, given the degree to which it simultaneously inflamed the Muslim world and eroded the sympathies of our democratic allies. We hold the moral high ground in our war on terror. We appear to hold it less and less. Our casual abuse of ordinary prisoners is largely responsible for this. Documented abuses at Abu Ghraib, Guantanamo Bay, and elsewhere have now inspired legislation prohibiting cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment of military prisoners, and yet these must not shed much light on torture. Okay, so he talks about collateral damage. He would do well to reflect on Gandhi's remedy for the Holocaust. He believed that the Jews should have committed mass suicide because this would have aroused the world and people of Germany to Hitler's violence. Did he really say that? Gandhi, Holocaust, Jews, mass suicide. An area where no doubt is allowed, however, is Gandhi's rather humiliating record as a world-class international statesman. Faced with the Nazi threat, Gandhi urged the Jews to commit collective suicide, leaving a rich heritage to mankind. The Czechoslovaks to march unarmed against the Waffen-SS, perishing gloriously, and the British people, after Dunkirk, quite simply to surrender on Gandhi's personal guarantee that Hitler was not a bad man. Jesus. Hitler, Gandhi solemnly confirmed or affirmed, killed 5 million Jews. It is the greatest crime of our time. 5 million, Gandhi? Is that a Fuentes viewer? It is the greatest crime of our time, but the Jews should have offered themselves to the butcher's knife. They should have thrown themselves into the sea from cliffs. I believe in harakiri. I do not believe in its militaristic connotations, but it is a heroic method. You think, I said, that the Jews should have committed collective suicide? Yes. Gandhi agreed. There would have been heroism. That would have been heroism. It would have aroused the world of the people. Jesus Christ. Interesting. Okay, well, the reality is, I think, is that it's generally accepted that it doesn't turn out good or reliable information. I think that's generally true, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. But to pretend that it's like a clear-cut answer, I think is a bit childish, but okay.
Grotesque.
Anyway.
But why is it grotesque? Because this writer claimed that, like, look,
Wait, does Sam Seder, is he like, is Sam Harris a boogeyman to him? Will he not say his name or something? Or
I don't want to talk. I'm not trying to talk over you, but can you just give me something to latch on to? A problem you have with my work, not with the work of someone else.
I'm explaining it to you. You don't want to engage in it. I will explain it to you. The reason why it's
I'm trying to engage in it.
Okay. The reason why it's grotesque to me in that instance is because it's one thing to sort of like create a thought experiment where you could argue there are instances where torture is a legitimate choice. But it is another to do it.
Torture is not a legit, but torture.
I'm not saying that you are. I'm not saying that you are, Jesse. In fact, no, Jesse. I am using torture as an.
wait, I'm curious if either of these people have read the article, because both of those things were brought up in Sam Harris's article, including constructing a hypothetical where. But okay.
Example, so that you will understand my problem with your writing. I know that you think torture is abhorrent. That's why I'm using this as an example. There is no doubt in my mind that you agree with me totally on this perspective of torture. But let me finish so I can explain to you
my actual work.
I'm going to
My work.
Okay.
Okay, you'll get to it, I guess.
I will. I promise. This is be much. I'll be done by now. In promoting that, in that instance, in a moment when torture is on the front pages of the news, regardless of whether there was merit to the philosophical argument about the value of torture.
Oh no.
Which I would agree, and I'm convinced that you would think is abhorrent, period. What that article does is it gives cover for people who were promoting torture in places outside of Huffington Post.
I really don't like this argument. This is the Vosh argument. We can't discuss these difficult issues, even if we do it honestly, truthfully, and with nuance, because somebody else might use our arguments bad, so we need to be dishonest about our beliefs. I really don't like that. That is a very scary, slippery slope to we need to lie because it'll probably create a better situation. It's funny because in a way, like Sam Seder is making another type of utilitarian argument. It's so funny that he's using a bastardized utilitarian argument that could destroy the virtues of truth-telling, the same way that he's arguing that Sam Harris is using a utilitarian argument that bastardizes the virtues of not torturing people. The scary part about torturing people or saying it's okay in some instances might be that other people use the justification in other instances. But the scary part here about Sam Harris saying, well, we can't, Sam Seder here saying, well, we can't have these discussions even if they're really important. Arguably, Donald Trump is making these things. He's saying, listen, the Constitution is really good and important, but sometimes we have to suspend the Constitution. It's the same type of argument. I think there's a quote, I don't remember the guy's name because they all have weird names. At the end of that, at the end of that Chernobyl show.
When the truth offends, we lie and lie until we can no longer remember it is even there, but it is still there. Every lie we tell incurs a debt to the truth. Sooner or later, that debt is paid.
That is absolutely true. You have to be really, really, really careful once you start going down this road of like, we need to not maybe we shouldn't be honest here because other people might use our honesty against us. You have to be super, super, super careful about that.
The writer is basically...
I love that he won't bring... I have a thing about people that won't bring up people's names. Maybe it's because so many people do it to me. It's very, very, very interesting when people will reference their work but won't even say their name.
The writer is basically positing that they have no impact on this public debate. Because I believe that if you are writing in this manner and you are promoting ideas in this manner in public, then you must take responsibility not just for the specific content as the letters, but its impact and how it's heard and how it's used in a political struggle that is going on. And I suggest that when you say the Republicans, AGs, who cited my material in the Atlantic, did so and twisted it in a way that it meant something different than it did, that at the very least, you would realize that you are being used as a means to attack trans people and to attract
Well,
and to attack.
but that's why 4 days. But that's why 4 days after they put that brief out, I did a Substack post saying they're lying about my work.
I'm glad that you did a Substack post. In fact, that same torture guy has a whole page on his, at that time, I think it was Medium, as to why this is being misinterpreted. But do you know how many people saw the HuffPost thing versus saw that Medium thing? This is what we call in sales a funnel. I don't know why I say we, because I'm not in sales, but I read enough about it.
You're saying that a lot of people saw this fairly obscure brief over a technical aspect of Affordable Care Act enforcement. That's your argument, that was like a viral Huffington Post article?
Are you suggesting in any way, Jesse, that your work hasn't been cited over and over again by people saying, like, even the liberal Jesse Singal says that...
people are saying Sam probably doesn't know who wrote the article because he just said the guy who wrote the article has a whole thing on Medium. He knows it's Sam Harris. He literally knows exactly what he just referenced him.
That there's something problem here.
I mean...
like, this argument philosophically from Seder is absurd. And I believe that this type of thinking that he's talking about is exactly why... you run into weird issues. The University of Washington published a headline relating to a study of trans healthcare that was incredibly misleading. And the problem was that because there's so much transphobia in the United States, emails were leaked from the University of Washington with them explicitly saying, we're not going to issue a retraction or a correction because we think that it's not... I want to find the exact email so I'm not like misquoting this. FYI, I read through his exceedingly long, very, very long article, which claimed the research was flawed or at worst made up, but given the extremely positive pickup by mainstream media, I would agree and just let this be. Hi, Barbara and Madison. The article resulting from inquiry was recently posted on the author's Substack and includes some pretty concerning claims. UW Epidemiology, UW SPH, UW News will not be including this article in our media tracking or otherwise driving traffic to this piece, as there is an overwhelming amount of positive coverage of the study's findings. I don't believe there's a need for a proactive response beyond continuing to monitor, but welcome your ideas for any other actions or messaging with the study team. In my personal opinion, writing something like this should permanently, or at the very least, give you a 5 to 10 year disbarment from being anywhere near anything having to do with science communication, or research. This is one of the worst things that I've ever read. For the most part, people just brush over, they didn't care. But the University of Washington is literally thinking about Twitter likes and optics in regards to correcting what was ultimately a misleading at best and outright lie at worst headline because it had to do with trans issues. That's wild. And I believe that this email here is directly downstream from this thought process here. Well, I don't want a retraction that I give to be used by conservatives to attack trans people. That's wild.
Well, the problem is that, with all due respect...
And then when somebody like me goes out and has to argue over whether or not COVID booster 72XY is good or bad, and I say, well, look at the studies, and somebody goes, what if some of those studies are dog shit, but the universities didn't want to publish emails saying they were dog shit? I would go, why the that even happen? That's not even how research works. And they go, what about when they did it at the University of Washington? There was a bad translator that got put out and they didn't even correct it, even though it was basically proven to be bullshit. Well, now I look like a retard in front of the entire audience, and if any conservatives listen, they're gonna go, that's actually true. There were bad studies put out, and you watch the university, they actually explicitly said that they weren't going to retract it, or they weren't even going to mention the negative media around it. What if there's negative media around this is why I listen to Joe Rogan. This is why I have to listen to Brett and Eric Weinstein. This is why I have to listen to the alternative media, because the mainstream media won't even report on this, right? The University of Washington literally said they weren't going to do it. This type of thought is cancer. This is so bad. It is so insane to have people saying stuff like this. It is so horrible to say stuff like this, because every debt incurred by the truth will eventually be paid. Every debt you incur to the truth will eventually be paid. It will at some point.
I explained to you in the email like exactly what they did. My article said
you didn't even say, when I said Republican AGs, I specifically asked you, now you didn't publish this part.
Every lie incurs a debt to the truth. There you go.
Part of the email, you only published like the first line of it for whatever reason. But I asked you, when I wanted to clarify this and catching up on it, what was defamatory? Because I think your words were straightforwardly defamatory about Matt Leck saying that your lies were cited by Republican AGs. And then you wrote back something about a tweet exchange you had with Matt about conservatives. For whatever reason, you wouldn't acknowledge that this Republican AG thing was.
No, I know, but we're referring to the same legal document. And I pointed
Well, I didn't know that because you didn't say anything about that legal. I can read the email right now if you want to clarify that.
Sam, could I?
Because it seemed really manipulative of you to pretend that you had explained this to me and saying, when whatever the tweet storm that you were trying to get going, when in fact I said Republican AG and you said conservatives, some conservatives.
Sam, I think you're a little bit trying to talk over me because I'm making a very basic point here.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, you're going to let him talk. Good job.
I emailed you. I pointed out that this brief said...
No, you did not use the words brief.
He'll finish eventually, okay?
I did not use, you did not use the words brief, Jesse. That's why.
Jesse, if you want to get specific, you got specific about the fact that a viewer wrote in and said that you cited one part of this written document by that woman, what was her name, Jamie Reed, that you didn't cite. Yep. And so if we want to be specific, then be specific about what you said to Sam in this email.
Okay, let me read this because you're now claiming that you said the word brief or you said the word attorney, because I asked you.
Hey, sorry, we've been talking about the same document the whole time. You can either.
Well, I didn't know this.
Why the
I didn't know this. Jesse, I don't know your stuff from Adam. I don't care. I said I'm unclear.
How do you reconcile this position of strict adherence to the truth with your position on the truth only being good if it's useful instead of good in itself? The types of unuseful truths that I'm thinking of are incredibly abstract and almost always going to be unrelated to most real life things that we have to deal with. So like the ideas of truth being not useful are going to be cases of like, is like reality real, or is epistemic nihilism correct, and no, there is no objective true meaning and we're just like brains in a vat. Like that's not relevant to 99.99% of what I'm talking about. Okay, truth being a subjective tool is something I only think about when I'm very, very, very high on mushrooms.
Let me make this clear.
You don't know
Here,
my stuff.
I'll tell you what, we'll put this up because we'll put this up.
Oh, you do know my stuff.
No. We will put up our exchange because you're mischaracterizing our exchange right now, just like you did on Twitter.
I know, but you won't let me. I'm happy to explain it.
Well, no. I get it now because I've had to go back and try and understand what you were talking about.
Now you get it. Okay.
But you are even in this call mischaracterizing our exchange, and this is what you do. This is my experience.
I don't think Jesse's finished like a single sentence. Like I don't think he's even finished one sentence.
Experience of you. You keep saying that people misunderstand me, and Sam said he was going to do this and this and that, and you're the one who creates the confusion. I don't know if you do it on purpose or if you do it because you're trying to obscure some agenda. I don't know. I don't care.
I think it's more that I sort of cleared this up 4 years ago, but none of you guys have read that post, and you keep referring to it. And that's why I'm just trying to get
I don't care about that post.
30 seconds. No, I know you don't care about it, but I'm just trying to get 30 seconds to explain what happened, which you can choose not to grant me that 30 seconds, but just...
I'm going to give you 30 seconds.
Okay. They cited my work to say that gender medicine doesn't help trans adults. My work described that gender medicine as life-saving, and it quoted multiple trans adults who found it life-saving. So you can't read my article.
How late in the piece, Jesse? Have you heard of the principle of journalism, where essentially you're supposed?
Emma.
No. How late into the piece?
Top of the piece.
How late into the piece, Jesse?
Jesse, I'm looking at this section that you sent me about, like, for sure, trans-affirming care. This paragraph. There's 3,500 words in front of it. The section that you clipped for me.
Yeah. So you would think that the more obvious point.
Oh wait, is this the piece that we read? I think we read this when this came out. Like, was this 5 years ago, or was it later on that we read it? Wait, hold on.
The principle of.
So you can't read my article.
How late in the piece, Jesse? Have you heard of the principle of journalism, where essentially you're supposed?
Emma.
I've never taken a journalism class in my entire life, okay? But I've read a lot of articles. I've read a lot of journalism. I don't like. It feels like Emma is about to say, if you've got something important, don't bury it too late into the article. However, this is not an ordinary news article. This is, I don't know if I would describe this as a profile or I don't know what, I'm sure there's a word in journalism to use, but this is not like a Fox News or a CNN, like 7-paragraph article. I don't know if anything about traditional article writing would apply to a piece. I think this took us like 2 hours or 3 hours to read. This is a very, very, very long piece. Would you ever read a profile? Like, say you go to the New Yorker, does amazing profiles. We've read several of them. I've read several of them personally, and I've read some on stream. The New Yorker does a really good profiles. Would you ever say that, like, the most important things about William Barr should be 4 paragraphs in? Dog, this is a profile. This is, I don't know if anything about contemporary standard journalism should necessarily apply here. I hate this Emma person. She is one of the dumbest motherfuckers that I've seen talk on media. I hope she never talks to me, because she gives me something. She uses it as an excuse to never talk. I don't care. God, she's so dumb.
Trans adults who found it life-saving. So you can't read my article.
How late in the piece, Jesse? Have you heard of the principle of journalism, where essentially you're supposed?
Emma.
No. How late into the piece?
Top of the piece.
How late into the piece, Jesse?
Jesse, I'm looking at this section that you sent me about, like, for sure, trans-affirming care. This paragraph. There's 3,500 words in front of it. The section that you.
How many words are after it? Like, yeah, there's 3,500 words in front of it. How many words are after it? This is a long piece, my dude. How long is it? This is like a 2-hour read. Does it say at the top? This is at least 10,000 words. Maybe. This might be over 12,000 words. So when you say that it's 3,000 words into the piece, I mean, like, it's not a 3,200 word piece. Like, bro.
Clip for me.
Yeah, so you would think that the more obvious point, just basic rules of journalism.
I hate her so much. It's not a Washington Post article. Like, I understand that she's probably never read anything that doesn't fit in a fucking Crayola crayon book, okay? Or hasn't read anything over 8 paragraphs long. You would think that $40,000 a year elementary school education would allow her to read something with a little bit more depth. But bro, are you serious? Why are you saying basic rules of journalism? Isn't the basic rules? This is a really long piece.
You're a journalist.
I want to hear this.
No.
Was it 3,500 words in, or was it at the top of the piece?
Yeah, which part?
Sam, if it's a 40,000 word piece, 3,000 words in might be basically at the top of the piece. You don't even know how long it is.
It was 3,500 words into a 12,000 word piece. So
okay.
Near the top.
It was in the top 25% of a 12,000 word piece. Okay.
Right.
I like how he tries to play it off now, right? Because top 25% of a 5-paragraph piece would be like in the first 1 or 2 paragraphs, which is probably the longest pieces that either of these two probably generally read.
Right. As opposed to, I mean, Jesse, have you not in your work?
Outside of 20.
By the way, also, neither of these people have read that piece. I bet my whole life on it right now. I'll sacrifice my life to Thor and Odin and God and Zeus and everybody strike me down. Neither of these people have read the piece. Because if they had, they wouldn't be engaging with it in such a juvenile and such an uneducated, like high school journalism. Not even. It's not even, no, because high school journalists, kids are smart. They're if you're taking journalism in high school, it's probably because you have a big interest in it. This is such a childish and naive. Oh, Sam has literally said he didn't read the piece? Okay, yeah. This is such a naive and childish way to engage with with such a long piece. How stupid. Why didn't you put at the very top, trans healthcare good? Because the entire point of the article is that it's complicated.
25%.
Emphasize certain specific cases that are outside of the trend of the...
He literally has good cases and bad cases in here. Am I wrong? We read this. Aren't there some cases in here that are incredibly positive, and then some cases in here where the person's like, oh, I'm not trans? It's been like 2 years since I've read this, but I'm pretty sure he highlights that, yeah, I know because we read this whole article, and we brought him on afterwards to talk about it. Like,
the overwhelming data that shows that gender-affirming care for youth is effective and helps reduce suicidal ideation and is important and
I'm just curious if he mentions like correlations between suicide and the actual outcomes of the research. It doesn't look like it. Oh. When severely dysphoric kids are approaching puberty, for instance, blockers can be a crucial tool to buy time, and sometimes there's a genuine rush to gain access to them, particularly in light of the waiting lists at many gender clinics. But the clinicians I interviewed said they rarely encounter situations in which immediate access to hormones is the difference between suicide and survival. Leibowitz noted that a relationship with a caring therapist may itself be an important prophylactic against suicidal ideation for TGNC youth. Often for the first time, having a medical or mental health professional tell them that they're going to take them seriously and really listen to them and hear their story often helps them feel better than they've ever felt. So he kind of talks about the suicidal ideation.
That the sister myth essentially is a small edge case. Have you not focused on that a disproportionate amount versus the overwhelming other elements of data that I just described?
Oh, but what you just said isn't true. There is an overwhelming evidence these treatments.
There is. I'm looking. Okay, have you read the Journal of Pediatrics and their clear results on this front, where they looked at children, youth,
you're talking
over
about a
5
Jack Turban
years?
paper. I've written two. No, so the.
You have got to be so arrogant. No offense to Jesse, okay, but Jesse's obsessed with trans issues. I cannot imagine what Emma did was she Googled trans positive healthcare study. She probably found the first thing, and now she thinks she's gonna get him. She's gonna roast him. Oh, well, have you read the Journal of Pediatrics? Like, bro, Jesse's obsessed with trans shit. He writes about this shit all the fucking time. You really think you're about to pull some random study or meta-analysis that he hasn't either heard of at least or written a article about? What are you thinking?
Looked at children, youth,
you're talking
over
about a
5
Jack Turban
years.
paper. I've written two. No, so you're talking about Christina Olson's paper, not Jack Turban's paper. I apologize. Christina Olson's paper took a group of kids who transitioned early, social transition.
Yep.
She found that 93% of them 5 years in were still in that socially transitioned role, but none of them were diagnosed with gender dysphoria. So you can't compare that to the question I'm interested in, which is whether these treatments help alleviate gender dysphoria, because we don't know if the kids in Olson's sample had gender dysphoria.
Why would you ever think you could do this to a guy that writes about this shit constantly? Why would you ever do this? I like how she's, yeah, also, I like you saying, yep. I like how she's saying that like she's read the paper when you know this stupid Google this like 1 hour before the show. It's like, I'll get you. If he brings this shit up, I got this study right here. I'm just gonna, have you read the pediatrics, also, I like how she cites the journal before like the name of the paper or the authors. Like, bro, what are you doing? I don't even know if that's standard, to be fair. I just totally made that up and I'm talking shit right now. But I'm trying to think if I would set a study. But I'm doing it as a layman, so I don't know. I'm fucking retarded. But like, that's just funny to me. Hey, the DJ, thank you for gifting 521 subs, buddy. Why would they socially transition if they don't have gender dysphoria? There's a difference between being diagnosed with gender dysphoria versus social transition, which is a whole bunch of other kind of stuff. Yeah.
gender dysphoria because we don't know if the kids in Olson's sample had gender dysphoria.
You're using outdated terminology to talk about children
What?
who are already socially transitioning and showing that that is effective and they're consistent after that 5-year period in their transition.
This is just an objective matter of fact. What you just said,
this is pedantic.
It's not pedantic. Oh, I'm getting triggered. The reason why I get triggered is because this fake doesn't give a about trans people, and I hate. I don't even particularly like any people, really. You know, trans people, women, black people, Jewish people. Okay, I like gamers, and I'm just kidding. I hate that she doesn't give a about trans people, but she's trying to build her legacy off of being their fucking cis savior, because like. To say that it's semantic, the difference between social transitioning and medical transitioning, that is a wildly fucking clueless statement to make. How can you ever say the difference is semantic? That is unbelievably fucking stupid. And it shows a crassness and a carelessness in the approach to the topic of trans healthcare, especially in regards to minors, okay? Transitioning via hormones is way different than transitioning via surgery, which is also way different than just socially transitioning. Socially, semantic or pedantic, I'm sorry, whatever, even if she said pedantic, it doesn't matter. It's not pedantic or it's not semantic. It's paramount. It's arguably the most important thing. Social transition could be having a girl that's 15 that has really big boobs and binding them. That could be a social transition. A social transition could be a girl. Now, I hope in the study, they probably explicitly call out what a social transition is, but a social transition could be a boy wearing lipstick. A social transition could be a girl having a pixie cut or shaving her head, right? These are forms of social transition. That's way different because one, doesn't require gender dysphoria analysis. Two, doesn't even necessarily mean they were trans. Could just be somebody that likes presenting in a different way. And three, it is worlds apart from medical or surgical transitioning. So to call that pedantic is insane, okay?
This is just an objective matter of fact. What you just said,
this is pedantic. Do you believe that? No, it is. Do you believe that gender affirming care works and is over?
She's just like so dogmatic. Like these people shouldn't be talking about trans issues, right? Honest to God, I don't think she should be talking about anything. She doesn't deserve to have any platform because everything that she talks about, she does a disservice to because she's only here to virtue signal. Probably because she feels guilty growing up as the whitest surface of the sun vampire person ever in the wealthiest $40,000-$50,000 a year first, second, third grade education place she's ever been to. This girl probably cleaned piss up off the floor with textbooks that are worth more than like an average suburban kid's entire 4 years of college education, okay? Like, I'm sure she feels guilty about her past and this is her trying to live through the PTSD and trauma she has of the wealthy white upbringing she had, but God, please don't do it in front of a fucking camera anywhere else.
Overwhelmingly effective with children. Do you believe it?
Like, what a stupid, how to boil that. And I like how she pivots away to boiling it down to this yes or no question after she gets fucking hammered on probably this one study that she's fucking dished out 50 million times without knowing anything about it. We got to go back to red pill, guys. I'm sorry. We need to go back to red pill. We got to go back to red pill. Oh my God.
Do you believe that? No, it is. Do you believe that gender affirming care works and is overwhelmingly effective with children? Do you believe it?
I am with the 5 European countries who have looked into this question closely, and all of them are like, we don't know yet. We need more data. So no, it's not established.
Okay.
It is established.
All right. Well, you don't believe
It's
it.
not established.
No, but you just changed the question that she asked you.
I'm not
There's
sure
no
yet.
doubt.
He said that it's not established yet. He answered the question pretty directly.
Listen,
I have to go.
we are aware. I am aware that the Dutch protocol is no longer being used in these 5 European countries, and that they're looking at more data. I'm also aware of like hundreds of situations where Europeans and Americans have different protocols, and part of that process in which there is some like sort of like broad agreement is that doctors work this stuff out. You clearly have an agenda.
There is also a group of doctors called the COVID Care Alliance. And these people are real doctors, real physicians that are practicing in hospitals that use pseudoscientific bullshit to feed their patients ivermectin because they feel like they've developed new protocols with 1,000 cc's of vitamin C to cure COVID, right? I'm sorry, but Sam, This is not how you do good research, and it's not how you form good opinions. I can find a retarded doctor anywhere in a fucking hospital in the United States. You would never go by what an individual doctor or an individual practitioner or an individual lawyer or an individual anybody would say, or even 100 of these people. You would follow the process of peer review. I don't know why you would ever say, like, I can give you groups of doctors that believe in all sorts of retarded fucking shit. Bro, I live down here in Miami. You can find nurses to give you shock IVs to cure fucking hangovers and to cure fucking bad spirit and juju. You can find, bro, what are these things fucking called? I feel like I see advertisements for this stupid shit all the time. Are they IV drip bars? This stupid shit where you can go and get like IVs for 30 minutes and supposed to like heal your chakras and shit. It's so cringe. But bro, you can find this pseudo shit bullshit everywhere. Why would you appeal to hundreds of people here instead of the research?
And you recoil at the idea that people suggest that you have an agenda.
Yeah, no shit. Because by suggesting he has an agenda, you're refusing to engage with the fact of the matter of anything he's saying, and you're trying to sidestep all of it by just saying he's being bad faith. No shit he's upset when you say that. What? Yeah, no shit. If I were to come in and say, oh, you're just Jewish, you'd probably be upset as well. Like, yeah, what a stupid statement to make. Of course he's upset that you accuse him of being bad faith and you don't engage on the actual, like, merit of anything he's saying.
Now, you think that your agenda, is founded in a science that is not available to other people.
Except the 5 European countries he cited that no longer do gender-affirming care in the way that you advocate for.
And I'm suggesting, like, you know, like, I have no problem with doctors.
It's totally available to you guys.
No, you're not. It's available to me now.
It is completely obscure to us.
It's available to me now in this Journal of Pediatrics. Like, sis, it's one study. Okay, you don't even know what it's about. It's in the Journal of Pediatrics. Why would you? Nothing has brought me closer to hating women than the women that they put on the Majority Report. Are these maybe this is what Vosh was. This is what turned him into an actual woman hater. Okay, because I think Vosh does harbor hatred towards women. But between her and Jamie, oh my God, holy shit, where do they find him? I guess to be fair, actually, you know what? I just had a sexist moment because you know what? The men on the Majority Report aren't any better. So you know that's true. Actually, true me.
Because as you've said on your show...
Sorry, you guys are talking one at a time. Can you just talk one at a time? I can't hear
Sure.
city speaker.
Because as you've said on your show, we're doing this just to A, make cash, and B, seen as like more righteous than other people. I've listened to at least part of one of as like more right to A, make... Because as you've said on your show...
Sorry, you guys are talking one at a time. Can you just talk one at a time? I can't hear city speaker.
Because as you've said on your show, we're doing this just to A, make cash, and B, seen as like more righteous than other people. I've listened to at least
the more righteous thing is 100% true for this person right here. Absolutely. I think Sam legitimately believes it. I don't know if Emma has the depth of prefrontal cortex to form beliefs outside of this is what people would congratulate me for and clap for me for. Yeah.
Part of one of your shows. And so I know that you said this. I know you said this, Jesse. I know that you feel this. Now, I do not attribute to you some type of like intent. I don't know that you're making cash off this or what it is. I just see what the impact of what you do is, and I think it's reprehensible. And that's it.
Well, but I've already explained to you guys.
No, I'm not just talking about limited to.
We should do a counter. This is the number of sentences that Jesse has gotten finished without being interrupted.
That was misinterpreted, and you changed the debate into, okay, you did say that, but it wasn't high enough.
Hey, listen, Jesse, I didn't say anything.
Did that count as a sentence? He kind of commaed there. I wonder if that... I wonder if I should count that as a full.
Beginning, I wouldn't have known about this, and no one would have known about it, except for your insistence that it was straightforwardly defamatory, that you had been cited by Republican AGs, and that what had been cited was lies. And you said to me in an email it was straightforwardly defamatory. I got news for you. You don't know what the word straightforwardly means, and I'm not...
They didn't even read the email.
I'm not sure you know what the word defamatory means.
I never claimed to be... it could just be you guys are smarter than me on this stuff, but do you think the sentence in that legal brief accurately describes my work? That's all I'm asking.
What sentence?
I don't No.
The sentence
What? She doesn't even probably know what the citation of the brief is.
that there's no consensus that transition alleviates gender dysphoria. Do you think that accurately describes my
That quote, was that quote from your...
He doesn't even know? He doesn't even know if the quote is from his piece? Why are they so passionate about this if he doesn't even fucking know? Why is he so fired up about this if he doesn't even know if it's misquoting him?
Right there. We've been through
Was that quote from your piece?
Well, Jesse, then let me just ask you directly once again. Do you believe that
This isn't what he believes in, Emma. This is about how his piece was quoted. He already answered your dumbass virtue signal bullshit question.
established standards of care in
Sam is trying to read now while she's distracting with her 25 IQ question now.
the United States are effective and should be implemented to help children as they begin to transition in their youth?
The standards of care say that kids should get like 1 to 2 years of therapy before they transition. So that might be too conservative, but yeah, something like that.
She doesn't even know what the fucking standard of care is. It's youth expression. I believe, well, no, I don't even know actually. Let me see. I think that she thinks standard of care is just like how you treat people in a hospital. I think that a standard of care, I believe, is a prescribed therapeutic like procedure that you would go through for a given diagnosis, I believe. I don't know who actually decides these, if it's like is it the ADA or is that dentists? What's the doctors? But so like, for instance, it might be that like my patient has hypertension, there are no contraindicatory things, meaning there's nothing saying I shouldn't prescribe a thing. For hypertension, I prescribe this medication at this dose for this person. That's like a standard of care. Or for this disease, at this progression, you prescribe this medication in these settings according to these guidelines, as long as there's no contraindications. This is like, I believe, like standard of care. Typically when we're testing medicine, I think you're usually testing a new medicine against a standard of care. That's what a standard of care is. A standard of care is not just like, a standard of care is not just like, this is what we ought to do, maybe that's nice. But I don't know if she knows that a standard of care is like an actual, like by organizations and medical boards, prescribed way to address problems.
So that might be too, should get
To transition active and should be that the well, Jesse, then let me just ask you directly once again. Do you believe that the established standards of care in the United States are effective and should be implemented to help children as they begin to
like this? I don't know what that means. The standards of care should be implemented. KKMD, you're a physician in chat. If it's a standard of care, it's already implemented, is it not? Is that not, that would be the standard of care, right? I don't know what it means to say the standard of cares should be implemented. If it's a standard of care, it's already, I don't know. I don't know what that means, but I could be wrong there, but I've never heard that expression before.
transition in their youth.
The standards of care say that kids should get like 1 to 2 years of therapy before they transition. So that might be too conservative, but yeah, it's something.
But she doesn't, she has no idea. That's why she's trying to correct him. She's like, because she wants to say, no, that's not right. But then she realized she doesn't actually know what the standard of care is, because she doesn't give a about trans people. She would shit down their throats if she thought she could gain some social media clout off it. She has no fucking idea. She has no idea. And she wants to contradict him, but now she's like, fuck. Oh God. I really don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I have no idea what the fuck I am doing here. Jamie Foxx is in her head.
Like that.
Okay, so
she's looking to like her producers like, is he right? Is that the standard of care? Wait, what does standard of care mean? What?
what's the
So
issue?
then what's the problem?
Those are the
Oh my God.
those are the new standards of care. The question is whether people are following them.
Okay, well, you know what?
I doubt Emma.
But the evidence that you've shown, the Jamie Reed whistleblower, bro, has been discredited over and over again, and you wrote a whole write-up about that.
She hasn't been discredited?
Not been discredited?
Hold on, a couple things. Guys, one thing at a time. Emma.
Wait, she hasn't been discredited?
He's trying to railroad. It's this whole thing is like a railroad and not letting him ever respond to anything, I guess. Destiny, nurse in chat here. The standard of care is a legal term, not a medical term. Basically, it refers to the degree of care a prudent and reasonable person would exercise under the circumstances. I thought that standard of care was also a medical term because I thought there were prescribed standards of care. I thought that's what you use as a control when you're doing I thought that was what you use as a control when you do. I actually could just look it up when you do like medical research. But let me check. We'll just look up standard of care. Oh, well, the nurse is correct. Standard of care is a legal term, not a medical term. Basically, it refers to the. Oh, you just copy pasted the. Wait, are you actually a nurse, or did you just copy paste the thing from Google and then and then say you're a nurse? State legislatures, administrative agencies, and courts define the legal degree of care required, so the exact legal standard varies by state. The vast majority of states follow the national standards, such as this from Connecticut. It is relevant in medical malpractice lawsuits. To prevail in a malpractice case, plaintiffs prove all four of the elements: duty, negligence, harm, causation. Gotcha. Destiny, both things are true. I'm a nurse, and I did copy paste it. Shut the fuck up. Okay.
Credited.
Can we finish?
Well, can I just be clear on what you said?
I'm happy to talk to you.
She has not been discredited.
Let me finish my point.
Okay, wait.
Okay, let me finish.
You just said something. I just want to. I was talking over you. I just want to make sure you said it.
I think I've lost. Like, I think most of my respect for Seder and a lot of these things is kind of gone at this point. This is like so unhinged. Like, it's already 2v1. It's already your show. Like, you're very clearly you're not even familiar with his article, what we were originally even talking about. Like, why not just let the guy finish a sentence or two?
Jamie Reed has not been discredited in your mind.
I'm happy to address this. I just want to finish up the thing about the standards of care, because I think that's super important, actually.
You didn't say this. I'm just curious about what you said just a couple of seconds ago on this show.
I'd like to finish.
Hey, dude, I got a big guest that's coming up in a minute.
Yeah. Has Jamie Reed been discredited or no?
Emma, it sounds to me that you think kids should get 1 to 2 years of
has Jamie Reed? Has Jamie Reed?
Like, this is like Fox News. It's just like screaming at somebody over and over again. This is like Jesse Lee Peterson. That's what we're watching right now. Like, I'm surprised she's not about it. Amazing. As soon as he hangs up, like, this is Jesse Lee Peterson tier line of argumentation and questioning. It's like,
who was not intimately involved.
She has not been discredited.
Oh, that's interesting to me.
And now they're going to hang up. Now they're going to hang up. That's it. This is the end. My guess is going to be this is the end of the conversation. Let's see. I'm going to guess within 1 minute. We're at 10:09. Let's see if we go past 11:09.
Interesting because we've got to run, but people can look this up. There have been lies over and over proven that she has put out there, which you took at face value.
When you come on the show, can we just get a little bit more specific about the SOC stuff?
Honestly, dude,
I'm not going on your show, bro. After I just got spanked this hard on this show, after I got slapped around, after I got absolutely demolished in my own house, you think I'm gonna go to your territory? No.
I mean, look, I want to engage in good faith. And we have now had this conversation, and to be honest with you, like, I don't back down from anybody, but I really think you should just have a trans person on or an activist or someone of that kind, because I cover a bunch of issues on
29 seconds. Are they going to last?
This program. We cover politics on a daily basis from different perspectives. And
okay, so you're backing out, though, is what you're saying.
20 seconds?
Sure. I to be honest with you,
based upon your original complaint to me, I will as a boss, I will
10 seconds?
I will suspend her if she goes on the show.
We had a back.
Oh, I'm gonna lose 6 seconds. I thought they were gonna end it sooner.
Back and forth over email. We couldn't.
You called the manager.
4 seconds.
Didn't get the response.
I don't want to give this more life.
You're backing out. It's unfortunate.
I thought the call would be over by now.
Hey, Jesse, if that's what you want to hang your hat on, have a good rest of the week, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, we appreciate the call, Jesse.
Yeah, couldn't care less. Thank you. Bye.
I was off by 10 seconds.
It's right at the top of the piece. 35 words.
Let's get into a serious debate.
Yes, here we go.
What's that? That debate.
Who's the guest?
It's your favorite. Oh, you like when nature calls?
No.
I wrote you.
Zealand?
Yeah.
What's your question?
Oh, is it? Oh, it's Sam's son. Okay. Okay. I'm done. My God, bro, what happened? Why'd you have respect for Samson in the first place? Maybe because other conservatives were scared of him, or maybe he has like the capacity. He's a smart guy. He's just like ideologically fucking out to sea right now. Holy Christ. Oh. Read donos, please. $5 from Wanna Jeep. Hey, bud. Miss you. Have you checked out Starfield? Not yet. I might. Eagle Lloyd, $10. Testing what camera lens do you use for your setup? I don't even know what the fuck this is. 29 millimeter. That's all I can see. Guess the rest. Good luck. Love you, but leave my queen alone. That was $10 from Thoth. $5 from Izzy Mandius. Destiny, how tough would it be to set up a debate on transition with Sam Seder? Did your buckets come fiasco burn the bridge? I don't know. I'm not even really that interested. Oh, we donated another $5 asking the same thing.